Hello, 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 hello. Hello and welcome. This is a messy stream today. Like, I am messy. I have Sarin at the back too today. I don't know if you can see him. He's licking himself. So, today, hello, ladies, gentlemen, and NBs. Welcome to the show that answers the question, why will Neil get arrested? In India, we are still waiting for people. Like, Sundays are like slow. I don't know why. Like it's better on like Saturdays and Thursdays as compared to Sundays. Ooh, my hair is not working for me now for some reason. Anyway, how you guys have been? Let me just... There you go. Da, da, da. See, I don't know. I'm still setting up this shit right now. Like, this was just such a rush job today. Like it is surprising how rushed this is. Like I'm not even wearing my headphones yet. Danning is looking at me from the back like, what the fuck are you doing, Dad? Like, you are supposed to be a professional here. Nazdravya. Sorry, someone sneezed. And I'm just like, what? Let me just take a screen grab here so I can show off Sarcho. Let's just put this on a tweet because let me just push this a bit more. Hey, how's it going? Uh, so today is a slow day. So what we are going to do is we are going to chill out a little bit. Can you please share the stream message? Because today is extremely slow. All this going to be cut from the final stream. What was I going? Yes, what I was going to do was I'm going to push this stream a bit forward because this topic is important. And how are we going to push this stream? By me being a leech on YouTube. Annoying people left, right, and center. It is good, Shubhai. Thanks. I finally fixed the sound quality issue altogether. The only thing I'm right now fixing is like people coming in. So can you please like the stream and share it? Thank you so much. Because see, the topic is a bit important. Like we are actually talking about why is it that in India we are losing soft power, and that such blatant shit can happen like on like the Chinese embassy to India can just say that Arunachal Pradesh is their territory, even though it has been part of undivided India since the longest time. And the reason is India is losing soft power and is losing soft power a lot. And like this has been happening for a very long time since Modi has been in government, and the reason and people have been producing like shit. Like there's this research article on ResearchGate which says like, oh, India is not losing soft power, we should not worry about this, we should not care about this. But like in every single other statistics other than that one paper that is clearly not biased, all of this other biased media for the West and the East and the North says India is losing its soft power. India is losing its potential to be a trade partner to everyone else. India is losing a lot. So fucking stupid. Like, how can someone. Like, let me just show you this quickly. Like this research paper. India's global soft power in the 21st century literally is like, oh, we by Shivangi Kashyap and Miss Lakshmi. I am a researcher. I am a Arctic marine biologist, currently on contract, and I work as a researcher. That's like, so if you were on, like, Piyush, you were on the Discord, right? We talked about this. Like, the past week has been such a huge burden because, quite literally, and I'm not joking, I have been working like 12 hours straight every single day in the lab. Dude, check Discord, man. Guys, you need to be on Discord. Discord पे सब information मिल जाता है. I have doxed myself like 300 times on Discord. So I swear, like, अगर किसी दिन any of those Sangis want to ever, yeah, I know, I know, I think it's it's unpaid. No, I get paid. मैं फुकट में काम नहीं करता. YouTube is unpaid. This is I do for free for you guys. बाकी I survive on my research का काम. Plus even my PhD is paid, man. That's why I keep saying like universal basic income, free education, that all includes also like your PhDs, your education being paid for by the government. यहाँ पे जो government है, that it pays me to study. It pays me to be a PhD researcher and sustain myself. अभी मेरा scholarship खत्म हो गया and now I'm doing contractual work, but it's still like I still get paid, right? Bharat bhai, I read that message that you sent currently, and my stupid ass brain is like, hold on, let me just show it to people. Come on, load faster. You said very insightful stream. I read it as a very insignificant stream because I am stupid. Like next level stupidity is my brain sometimes. Oh, that's so sweet. Today we are going to learn about soft power and why it is important. Because no one, like literally, like India mein, who talks about soft power? कौन बात करता है? I was checking like even Deshbak's stream earlier. We are not going to go reference it because the guy uses AI. Like I am not going to condone AI. I'm sorry. AI uses is strictly a no-no for me, and I'm never going to be someone who's like relying on even other people using AI. Like if I ever give someone the space on this channel at least, which have been which are using AI for their work, just call me out at that point because I just can't. It does not go into my own like laws I have set for myself, let's say, or my what is the word for it? Like what is a good word for this? Fuck. Like nahi ho raha mere se. My own mentality is not gonna let me use something that has been generated by AI because AI has fucked up India a lot and it is ethics. So thank you. Thank you. The thing is like AI is a terrible thing for India. A lot of these companies that are running AI want to shift like their AI centers into India. वो recent news में आया था. But what they are not telling you is that AI is something that poisons the water around it because the water is let out directly into the stream back and it is contaminated. There are no regulations और इंडिया में ऐसे भी कोई रेगुलेशन फॉलो नहीं करता. So the water is going to be contaminated. Plus because the water becomes completely unusable after, because of this there is a huge chance of a drought because अगर बारिश भी गिरे ना तभी the water is not going to be drinkable at all. Plus it also uses so much water and especially they're making these centers in drought prone areas. So now like water shortage का पहले से ही problem है इंडिया में. And now they're going to make it 100 times worse just because they want these centers कि 15 like what 1000 job के लिए they are going to ruin like at least 1 lakh or 2 lakh people's lives because of it. I'm not going to be supporting AI. Akash Banerjee also has a problem with people call him leftist. I don't know, man. Like, is he leftist though? He's like he wants to be like I am a Deshbhakt, I am like center or something, but fine, whatever. Like get called leftist and who gives a shit? I don't understand. What is wrong with him being called a leftist? Like uska kya problem hai? Does anyone know? Did he tweet or something? Like कुछ है पता पता video of why Deshbhakt doesn't like being called a leftist when he clearly is a leftist. There's no such thing as a centrist, honestly. Like a centrist is just giving permissibility to the right. There is like nothing more to it. You can't be this way, or like you can't be staying in the center because the right wants you to be a centrist. Like we have talked about this before, where it's quite literally like, okay, if you are in the center, you are going to give right the permission to take over someone's right just because you may agree with them. Yeah. It's like you can't please the right without saying half the people in this world do not have a right to live. Like the way to please the right is saying like Muslims don't have a right of to India. And that's the one thing that you can say for the right to be appeased. So if he's not doing that, he's not pleasing the right. So he's technically not neutral. Oh, hey Swaraj, how's it going? We missed you yesterday when we covered the GDP. Anyway, we are just waiting at this point for people to join. Sunday का ज़रा slow ही होता है वैसे भी. So it's like, oh, let's just take our time. It's a Sunday, like chill out a little bit. It's already 8:30. I saw this tweet. Okay, shit. Hold on. This is so ironic. I'm using the word correctly here. Like this is a tweet that I found of Akash Banerjee being like a political people or farmers protest ka. Like first of all, he's also using AI right now. Like he has been using AI from the start. So like fuck that shit. He's like be a deshbhakt, question everything, vagera, and the shitty guys wants to be center. Like who the fuck gives a shit, man? Why would you ever want to be central? Hey, Jesus Christ. See, hail everything. You don't have to hail anything. That is the point. I understand you're going into really communist, but if you end up being a communist who's doing communism for the sake because he loves communism and does not see the whole perspective, you're not being a communist. You're following it as a religion, and communism hates religions. Don't make it a religion. You don't need a rallying call for telling people that they need more rights and workers' rights. Bhai, why are you deleting now? तू टेंशन क्यों लेता है इतना भाई? इतना स्ट्रेस नहीं लेने का जिंदगी में. The way AI has ruined things for us designers, content creators, it's unimaginable. It's to compete with regards to automation and speedy delivery of articles. Yeah, I know it is a really bad thing that's going on. What is happening right now is that even like on YouTube, I can just make a video on YouTube just with a click with AI, and it will approximate anything. Like even with replying to people, you can use AI, which is called as like cognitive offloading. Plus, right now they are doing this calculation where a lot of Infosys or they're trying to replace the jobs. They did a calculation that states that even if the job is wrong, even if they are getting things wrong using AI, the cost of having human workers is much higher than using AI and getting things wrong or khud ka naam kharab karna. So what ends up happening is it's like, okay, fuck. Like they are trying to replace you anyway. And if you are someone who is being helped by AI to do your own job, jo bhi kuch ho, that job is going to replace you. Okay, choke bhature. Don't worry, you'll get a job eventually, somehow. Like in this economy, we did make a video on unemployment in India. It's one of those lives. We did it during like maybe more of a dedicated live we can do about unemployment in India. By teaching counseling mein ja, AI will affect it at least. Yeah. So there is something known as cognitive offloading. And that is happening. And like in teaching and counseling, see, I do teaching myself. Like I talk to students as well. So the more you use AI, the stupider you get. There was a research paper recently, see if I can find it. where they tested neuroscientists who use AI and the ones that who don't. Like even experienced scientists and like medics who were using AI stopped using that part of their brain. And I couldn't recall shit without the use of AI, even if they were like 20 years into their career. And something they could have done before they started using AI, they couldn't do after. Let me just check for the research paper talking about cognitive offloading. Jesus, मेरा सभी बंद पड़ गया है आज. AI causing yeah, so there's this research. Let me just show you this. AI Society in Tools Impacts Cognitive Offloading and Future of Critical Thinking by Michelle Gerlich. This is a 2025 paper. So I'll give you like the summary of it. The summary of it is quite literally like they did this research and found that like the more AI you use, the dumber you get. Like this is scientifically proven at this point, where the stupider you're gonna get if you use more AI in your life. Like jo cheese you could have done from the start because your brain was used to doing it, like you will end up forgetting it. Like a general basic thing like researching an article, what does it mean, understanding the concepts. People are using it as a shortcut to just like bullet point bana do what this article means or whatever, and then they just what it means, they just take it from AI. So this reduces your critical thinking. So we already have a problem with critical thinking in India, where it is hampered down more and more and more. And now with like Grok, with like ChatGPT and whatever Gemini, it's going down even more. If the government said youths of India don't have the skills, then it's government duty to teach them the new syllabus. Yeah, it is the government duty. पर अभी गवर्नमेंट को like खुद से तो नहीं करेगी, फोर्स करना पड़ेगा. So that's what the whole effort is for here, ऐसे तैसे. Anyway, guys, do leave a like on the stream. Please do join the Discord if you are someone who joins Discords. And if you're not, download Discord and join it anyway. It is a fun place to hang out. And do share the stream, please. We are trying to get more people in. We are trying to get a lot more people to be part of this and grow as a community. We talk about how to make lives of Indians better. We talk about socialism, we talk about communism, we talk about how shitty capitalism is. And this is just fun. Like we do a lot of fun shit here. Do share, we are trying to grow. Leave a like if you haven't yet, and you leave a like again. And if you can, do the hype thing. I don't know what to do with that, but do the hype thing. And Choke Bhature, please do subscribe if you haven't. I'm sorry, I don't know who you are. Normally, I know people. We are currently a small community trying to grow. Anyway, where is Bliss? Bliss, you there? Yeah, I'm waiting for Bliss to come back now so we can talk about Arunachal Pradesh, man. Arunachal Pradesh has such a shitty history in general. It is getting worse and worse and worse. Like जब हमारा PM ऐसे चुत्यापा कर रहा था, तब like people are like it was just like a way of like not looking at the actual problems of the world. You don't have the skills, and NEP is fucking up even more unnecessarily. Value-added courses and skill and enhancement courses में Ayush and all. Yeah, exactly. Like these are not skill giving courses. These are courses like, these are basically like degree farms. That is the major issue with India. We have so many degree farms. And honestly, people are not going to like this. I also blame like Congress for this, because like Nehru was one of the people who actually pushed for the value of degree in Indian society. Contrary to like say China pushed for like the value of like blue collar work within their society, and we pushed for white collar work. And you can see the difference, because you can't give up Like you can give an entire population of like 1.4 billion people like white collar jobs. नहीं होने वाला है. You have to push for more blue collar. They are trying to start it now with like the recent like हम chips बनाएंगे, हम ये बनाएंगे, like how China is doing, but it's way too late. It is way too disorganized. And because of all of the shit that goes on in India right now with like there is instability. For one, you cannot have an unstable country and expect people to invest in you. That is one thing we're going to talk about today as well. So if you have that instability, if you don't have a sector where all of your like shit can be protected, like agar jaake, like say we have a Silicon Valley industry or whatever, like something like a Silicon Valley or like a chip manufacturing, whatever, and tomorrow say something happens when the head guy is made a Muslim or whatever, like people are gonna come and start like breaking, like attack the industry itself, which is a problem that you can't have in a country like this. If you want to grow as a country, you can't have that. You can't have this Hindu-Muslim thing if you want to grow as a country. You can't have like the caste system and grow as a country. Like why would people invest money in a country which actively is unstable? And the whole parameter for the main party to win is instability within the country. How? Like, mujhe batana, someone answer this to me. Why would anyone like put money? Like, would you put your money in a country where there is active instability? No, you won't. And India's instability is rising. There is a fragility index, and it has grown so heavily in India. Like, we have gone from like no one actually even talks about it. There's a fragility index for democracies and like a general trade stability, and we have grown like what 10-20 points more. Like Pakistan is more stable than us apparently. Bangladesh is more stable. I mean, not anymore. Like 2014 mein. And it is so, and like it is so apparent, and no one talks about this. Like सामने दिखता है, like most stable countries have the highest trade, and that is the only way for you to get money. Like तुम्हारा जो GDP growth, like actual per capita GDP growth होता है, that happens through your stability. Because people want to invest. Like खुद ही बनाओ, खुद ही को बेचो. That what India is doing. We covered it yesterday with the GDP, where they have changed the formula so many times with the GDP coming in, that what ends up happening is like हम ही बता रहे हैं हमारा GDP इतना ज़्यादा है, but no one else is believing us. Like we are the fourth highest GDP in this world, even though GDP is like a shithole parameter to check a country's growth. GDP per capita works a lot better, and like we are low in that. पर ठीक है, चलो agreed. Let's assume GDP is a good metric. उसमें भी we have changed our own formula for calculating GDP like 2 times at this point, because we changed it in 2015 right after Modi came in, which pushed our GDP up because they started checking a final sales price for any product, not the manufacturing price, which every single country does. And now we are changing it again next year to include all of the informal sectors, which means जो बनाया, like there is no proof कि तुम्हारा कुछ बेचा जा रहा है, बनाया जा रहा है, कुछ नहीं है. We are just going to include it, like jumla, जुगाड़. So now they are going to show like, now they're like, oh, we have like 8.6% extra GDP, and now this is going to end up like, now we have 15% growth in GDP from next year. How is it fucking possible? The issue is that class of opposition that never talks about functioning institutions, a primary aid to facilitate investment and confidence in the nation. Exactly. Like opposition has their own shitty thing because they are not ideologically against the BJP. We have to remember that. Ideologically against Hona is a very important thing for any opposition, but they are not. They get profit out of Adani's, Ambani's, man. They get profit wherever they win. And this is constant for everyone. So what ends up happening is, it's like they are only focusing on, oh, tumne vote chori kiya, tumne ye chori kiya. Everything else just remains sideways because they don't want to bring, like, show off this late. Like, abhi America mein kya ho raha hai? Like, Democrats and Republicans both are on the Epstein files. They are fighting, like, kaun bada aadmi hai, Epstein file mein zyada dikha raha hai. But neither of them actually wants to have the Epstein files out. because Clinton jayega. So it is only the new Democrats are the ones that want something good to come out of it. Like, or for example, American foreign policy is is bipartisan. Like जो Trump कर रहा है with Venezuela has an agreement with the Democrats as well. उनको चाहिए Maduro पड़े, उनको चाहिए they get free oil from Venezuela. They don't give a shit about Venezuelan people themselves. Like they are on the verge of going on a full-on war with Venezuela. They have commanded everyone not to go to Venezuelan airspace, even though technically they shouldn't be on war. How does that fucking make sense? Because like if it was a function, like even like if America was some like place where we could trust the Democrats, or like we could trust the Republicans, I don't, like, to be fair, I don't really like see a difference between them. Someone would have said we should not go to war with Venezuela. Not one person is coming out and being like prominent is coming out and be like, oh, we should not go to war with Venezuela. When they have a clear, like even in their like as a even in winning within their democracy, they have a clear way out where people are so focused on people's right and socialism, and there is, I think, a 67% like acceptance for socialism in the country, and still like Schumer and what his name, Karim Jeffries and whatever, do not want to support someone like Mamdani, or even Mamdani doesn't want to support Cheese okay or someone, to be like, oh hey, we need to like promote this idea that we are working for the workers. Because America is not a bipartisan system. Like dono ka ideologically are not different. Like the Republican Party and the Democratic Party both are liberal parties. Unka conservative, not conservative is the only difference. They want what the other is selling. They want to do it themselves. Similarly, in India, opposition and like the BJP and the currently in government are both still libertarian parties. People forget that. Like BJP, for all its conservatism, is still a liberal party. They just want liberalism for their own people. And they want to spread this idea that, we are dependent on the capitalist interests. Like also, so does like Congress. So does like AAP to some extent. They all want to support Adani, Ambani. They all want to be part of this capitalism mechanism. That's why none of them have come forward and actually said anything against it. Like you talk about, yeah, that's fine. We just got into like this sidetracked over talking, like you missed Venezuela. You are the one who was saying we should talk about Venezuela. You missed Venezuela. Anyway, so the point is like India doesn't have a credible opposition because they are not ideologically against BJP in the first place. We need an opposition party that is ideologically in opposition to them. We need someone who can fight them on the basis of worker rights, of the rights of the people, on unionization, on why we like people should unionize. Oh, you should send pictures of your dogs, please. You don't have to apologize, dude. Come on. Anyway, I think at this point now, we should probably start with the live itself. Like I said, the prevalent danger is massive wealth and resources consolidation coupled with the massive population with poor quality education. Exactly. But no one wants to give a shit about consolidation of wealth at the top, right? Because Ambani Adani pay everyone. Like that is the one constant between all of these parties. Like Himachal Pradesh mein kya hota hai? Himachal Pradesh is under Congress, right? Or it was at least. And then now they are like more Hindutva than Sanghis. Why would you pander to Sanghis, man? They do. They don't push for good rights for the people. They don't push for trans rights that they like, oh, we are going to do trans rights in like other states whenever their manifesto comes out. So Himachal Pradesh, mein you are already in power. Do it. That's why fucking hate parliamentary democracy as in general. Because like parties aren't consistent. Parties do what they want to do. Like we should have a focus on like the individual people, because individual लोगों की फटती है फिर. Like मैं power से जाएगा अगर like my party is not going to support me, मैं power से जाएगा if I don't do my work for the people. Parties don't care. Party is a symbol. Like symbol के आगे कुछ नहीं होता उसका. Party is like a cop out basically. Like what? Like you can't even go against the party if you are part of like Congress, BJP. You can't, even if you believe that something is wrong, you can't even go against what they're saying, which is a fucking stupid. Like how dare you have a democracy that in which you have to follow your party head's orders? That is not a democracy, because at the end of the day, like you are not voting, like okay, you are voting for that party, but like when you're voting for that party to represent you, you should be represented. Dude, charge your phone, man. Jesus. Like I understand कि इंडिया में इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बिल बहुत ज्यादा है, बट फोन चार्ज तो हो जाता है ना भाई. Anyway, let's start with Arunachal Pradesh now. So, hello and welcome. We are talking about Arunachal Pradesh today, and this happened a few days ago, where a lady from Arunachal Pradesh was actually detained by the Chinese, what do you say, the Chinese officials at the airport. Her name is Prema Tongdok. She was traveling from London to Japan, and they saw her passport and it says Arunachal Pradesh and she's Indian. And they started laughing. They were like, no, this is not allowed. You should take Chinese. Like basic harassment that goes on at like airports. So let's just check exactly what happened according to her. Can you guys hear this?
For introduce yourself, and the audio is Shanghai airport. If you can narrate that, please.
Yes, so basically, I am an Indian citizen residing in UK for about 14 years. And I was traveling on my holiday from London Gatwick to Japan via a transit in Shanghai. And basically, I went past the e-gates, happily queuing up for the security gates to transfer onto my next flight onto Osaka in Japan. And one of the officials from the Chinese immigration came over and singled me out of the queue, basically said, look, India, took my name and something and took me out. So I asked her what is happening, and she basically didn't say much and just basically asked me to follow her. Took me close to the e-gates where there is the immigration, the manual counters for the immigration. And then she went on to say, Arunachal, not India, China. Your visa not acceptable. Your basically passport is invalid. Very confusing moment, obviously, because never heard of that before. We obviously are a proud Indian citizens, all residents of Arunachal Pradesh. And basically, she wouldn't give me an explanation. She wouldn't let me go back into the queue. Said you cannot board the plane. Then other officials came. So actually, I probably interacted with around 10 other immigration officers. So another lady came, took me to another part of the airport. And in fact, when I tried to question them and ask them what was the issue, they said Arunachal is not part of India, very clearly. And they said, you should apply, and started mocking and laughing and saying things like, you should apply for Chinese passport. You're Chinese, you're not Indian. Some mockery around there. Then basically they took me to the transfer desk of China Eastern, which is next to an immigration desk. And they would just keep basically sending me from one desk to the other. So if I ask the Chinese airline, they tell me to go to the immigration tells me to go to them. And they basically didn't give me a straight answer. I said, where is the law? What rights have you got to hold me back here? So ultimately, it took about 18 hours for me to get out of Shanghai. What is shocking to me is I have, in fact, transited through Shanghai in the past, a year ago, with no issues at all. In fact, the first time that I ever transited through China, I spoke to the Chinese embassy in London, and they said, with a short layover of about 3 to 6 hours. You don't need a visa. So obviously, I work actually in the regulatory space in London as well. So I know that how important rules are, and I'm well aware of the regulations. And obviously, I wanted to make sure that I knew what I was doing before I flew out. And obviously, I have transited very successfully and easily through Shanghai before, through China, having consulted the Chinese embassy.
Okay, so what is exactly happening here is that she was stopped and harassed. That at the end of the day, that is what we know. That is what we can come out of this, is because, see, like the Chinese embassies, and if you have traveled outside of India, they know who's coming in and out. They have all of the information. Like Palantir quite literally gives you your pictures, your biodata and everything. They have your fingerprints, they have everything. So they knew she was coming through. This is what harassment is. So when the agent, transport agent or transport officer or the terminal officer, whoever it is, or whatever they call. So the TSA rather, the TSA, they try and harass you because they have this idea that what their country is, they don't really care what is happening. And unless they are told specifically or not to do something, they are probably more or less going to do it. It has happened before. There was this case in Saudi Arabia at one point of time where if you're going through it, you have to be very careful of these officers because they would scribble on your passport and make it invalid. So you have to be very careful going from Middle East sometimes. With China, what happens is that because China and India have never been friends, but this thing has never happened before, more or less, because India still had some power left within it to actually oppose China. And people in China know shit. Like, they are not living under a rock. They know that India is losing power. India has not come out victorious in a lot of things. Like, even though OP Sindoor, we can claim victory, Trump still did that. And we have shown that that Indian military is not as good as, what people normally thought. So what has happened is India has lost hard power, militaristic power since OP Sindoor. And we are today covering on what soft power is and why India is also losing it exceptionally a lot more than we have feared. A response to this actually was also you can claim this, the TSA agent was just being like blatantly stupid. But this is planned. So after this incident, the Chinese Minister of Foreign Affairs for Arunachal Pradesh, who works in India, so her speeches are planned, her answers are planned. Like, there is nothing that is not planned in this. Comes out and says blatantly that India does not own Arunachal Pradesh while in India. I don't think this has ever happened before. Again, in order to facilitate traders' vested interests, we are not cutting down trade ties with China. And to attain self-sufficiency, we need skills and manufacturing at the same scale, but we are not doing that. See, it's very hard to do it now. It is way too late to do it now. We should have started a few years ago. And it is not just that. Like, we could have been trading partners on the same level with China, but we are not at the same level with China anymore. That is the problem why China can be so much more blatant in their assertions that Arunachal Pradesh is theirs or Aksai Chin is theirs and whatever, even though these have been historically Indian territories. This has gone way beyond the point where we can say that, oh, this is just for facilitating trade. India's power is directly being reduced. We'll talk about it. We'll get to it.
议员呼吁将其释放。中方对此有何评论？
First of all, Zangnan is China's territory. China never acknowledges the so-called Arunachal Pradesh illegally set up by India. As for the individual case you mentioned, we've learned that during the whole process, China's border inspection authorities have gone through the whole process in accordance with laws and regulations and had just enforcement and fully protected the lawful rights and interests of the person concerned. There's no so-called compulsory measures, detainment or harassment. The airlines also provide.
See, they did detain her. That is obvious. They have done it multiple times. Even if they say like, oh, we are just going from here and there and whatever, that is still detainment.
A place for rest, drinking, and food for the person concerned. For specifics, I'd refer you to competent authorities. Next one, please.
Good afternoon, Bloomberg News.
彭博社关于中美元首通话，美国和日本元首也进行了通话，讨论了日美同盟、地区局势以及双边关系，有一些还没有宣布。中方对于高市早苗和特朗普的通话有何评论？以及他们对于台湾问题的立场。
美日领导
The phone call between the US and Japan is a matter between the two countries. I have no comment on that. On the Taiwan question is China's internal affair and brooks no external interference. Next one, please.
BTI, a follow-up on what?
印报托追问刚才那一个问题，印度提出了交涉，印度拒绝了中方在阿鲁纳恰尔邦的立场，中方对此何评论？
关于印
On the so-called Arunachal Pradesh, illegally set up by India, China has repeatedly said our position. Jiangnan is part of China's territory. China does not recognize the so-called Arunachal Pradesh, illegally set up by India. As for the individual case, I've just shared information on that. Let me reiterate that to having border control examinations on the persons entering our borders and making decisions according to individual cases is the usual practice of border control.
It's not a usual practice because technically airports are international territory and you're not supposed to do this. They have been extremely blatant in their positioning on this, and this is for a reason on why this is actually happening. So the reason why this shit is happening right now goes a lot deeper than just trade. I'm sorry for like pushing back at this, but that is true. So let's just go back on what this shit is about in the first place. As we discussed before, Prema Wingyom Tongdok was traveling using her Indian passport from the United Kingdom to Japan because she's within the regulatory body for a company, and she was stopped at Shanghai Pudong International Airport in China for what was supposed to be a 3-hour layover, and she was trapped there for a while. It is a form of detainment. Even if you are not sitting in a room with police in front of you, that doesn't mean they shuffling you between these places. It's still a form of detainment, and she was harassed for 18 hours straight because her passport mentions Arunachal Pradesh, which is part of India, which is officially and internationally part of India. Like China has never accepted that it is part of India and never believed that the McMahon line was ever part of it, even though the then Tibet, which was I think an autonomous zone back then, had signed it as part of India. But when China annexed Tibet, what ended up happening was they said like, oh no, but like Arunachal Pradesh now it's ours. Like Tibet had no right because Tibet was also part of China. But like people, why don't they understand that, oh shit, fucking God, that China annexed Tibet in the first place? They want to annex this part as well because they, as a, like within their one China policy and united China policy, Arunachal Pradesh is part of China. One of the officials came forward and started screaming, "India, India," with my name and singled me out. When Tong Tong asked the officials why she was being taken out, she said that the official told Tong Dok that her Indian passport is not valid because she was born in Arunachal Pradesh. Tong Dok added to the official Arunachal Pradesh is added that the official said Arunachal Pradesh is part of China. Your passport is invalid. Tong Dok said she responded, Arunachal Pradesh is part of India. I've never heard of it being part of China. She added that she was held up at the airport without being provided a timeline on how long the authorities would keep her. That is, by definition, detainment. Other Indian media outlets reported that Tong Dok said she was presumed by airport authorities to buy a new ticket on China Eastern Airline and hinted at her passport would be returned only when she complied. This led to her losing money on missed flights and hotel reservations. She added that with help from her friend in the UK, she eventually got in touch with the Indian consulate in Shanghai. Indian officials later escorted her onto a late-night flight out of the city. The Indian Express newspaper reported that the Tong Tok had passed through Shanghai Pudong International Airport in October without any issues. So why this is happening now? This is what we want to focus on. It is unclear what was different this time. Has similar incidents happened before? In 2005, Beijing adopted a policy of issuing stapled visas to people from AP coming to China. Other Indian residents received a stamp Chinese visa on their passport. China's argument, it cannot issue regular visas to people from AP when it considers them Chinese to start with. But India has never accepted stapled Chinese visas on its passport, so doing so, it said, would be tantamount to accepting that the people from AP are not Indians. In 2013, two archers from AP were issued stapled visas to travel to Wuji in eastern China for Youth World Archery Championships. India barred them from flying to China. In July 2023, three martial arts athletes from AP were issued stapled visas for the World University Games, which took place in China's Chengdu. The entire Indian wushu team, as a result, ended up not going to the games in Chengdu. In September 2023, the same three wushu athletes from AP were unable to compete in the Hangzhou Asian Games because they were unable to download their credential cards, which were to serve as visas to visit China. Indian Sports Minister Arunachal Thakur cancelled his visit to Hangzhou for the inauguration of the games in protest. Sure. What is this China about? So this goes back to the Indian independence, when the British Emperor Raj Varma, a non-resident scholar so the Indian-China border dispute over AP is a legacy of the British Empire. Raj Varma, a non-resident scholar of the Singur Center for Asian Studies at the George Washington University, Al Jazeera. In 1914, the McMahon Line was established during the Simla Convention in India, which involved negotiations between Tibet, China, and the British Empire. The line is named after the British negotiator Henry McMahon. While the Chinese delegates attended the convention, they did not sign the main agreement and did not recognize the McMahon Line. The McMahon nevertheless went ahead and decided on the line with Tibet, which was then an autonomous territory. China held that Tibet did not have the authority to unilaterally decide on the borders with China, especially after China sent troops into Tibet and annexed it in 1951. Beijing had also turned the older that was also the time when the Dalai Lama came to India, around that time. Beijing had also turned to older maps, including that from the British Empire, that showed the territory south of the McMahon Line as belonging to China. Since gaining independence from Britain in 1947, India has treated the McMahon Line as a border with China. Beijing has insisted that India and China need to renegotiate and draw up their borders rather than relying on the British-era McMahon Line. For decades, China claimed that only a part of AP, known as Tawang, but in recent years, it has claimed the claim has extended to all of the northeastern Indian state. So why is this happening? Verma said tensions have been intensified since Xi came into power in 2012 and adopted a much more muscular approach to Beijing territorial demands. Our stance is steadfast and clear-cut when it comes to China's sovereignty and territorial integrity. We cannot lose 1 inch of the territory passed down by our ancestors. Meanwhile, we want nothing from others, Xi said in 2018, while they are still claiming Arunachal Pradesh and have increased their claim over the region, even though initially they just wanted Tawang. China's retaliations with many of its neighbors have also soured over the past decade due to territorial disputes, including Beijing's claim over all of South China Sea. Yes, they are building a lot of artificial islands to claim territory and to be part of their EEZ, which is an extremely big problem. And their claim is as flimsy as ever because they're like, oh, this is South China Sea. China is in the name. That's why it's our territory. They do not have a right to that territory whatsoever. The exclusive economic zone for any country extends up to 20 nautical miles from the shore. That's it. But China is claiming that because it's the name South China Sea, all of the claim of 20 nautical miles does not matter. The Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in power since 2014, has also adopted a more assertive foreign policy, including on border disputes. He once said he would show red eyes, a metaphor in Hindi meaning show foreignness. Sure. Okay. Now that is absolutely funny because he himself, remember when China invaded in like 2018, 2019? And he said like, koi nahi aaya hai. So even China was like, oh, look, your prime minister has said that nobody has come. So we are out of the thing. Like, India's weak ass prime minister, man. How has Arunachal Pradesh dispute played out historically? In October 1962, present-day Arunachal Pradesh became one of the two theaters of Indo-China War. Beijing troops attacks Indian position on both sides of the Namkachu River. Indian soldiers fled from Tawang, although the Chinese People's Liberation Army returned the territory to India after winning the war. October 1975, another skirmish broke out to the Tulung La Pass, which connects Tibet and Arunachal Pradesh. Each side accused the other of attacking its soldiers. 4 Indian soldiers were killed in what was the last deadly border clash between the neighbors until 2020 crisis in Ladakh, in which at least 20 Indian soldiers and 4 Chinese service members were killed after hand-to-hand combat. While the AP border has been largely peaceful for half a century, the competition between competing Indian and Chinese claims of the region have played out in other ways. In 2012, India objected to the Dalai Lama's scheduled visit to AP. We firmly opposed Dalai Lama visiting the so-called AP, said Jiang Yu, who was the spokeswoman for China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs at the time. Dalai Lama did not visit the state. Fine. 2022, minor border scuffle broke out between Tawang. Both sides blame each other while China accused Indian forces of obstructing a routine patrol. Indian alleged that Chinese soldiers had encroached upon Indian territory and tried to change the status quo, which actually they tried to do. But our dear Prime Minister said nothing sub Changa Sea. So even China was like, it's ours. In January of this year, China approved the construction of the dam Medong County in Tibet near the Indian border. India hit back, approving the Xiang Upper Multipurpose Project in AP to offset the impact of the Chinese dam and prevent flooding. However, Indian Reservoir Project risks submerging dozens of indigenous villages in India and Bangladesh. Why can't we do shit properly? I don't understand. This is just a border dispute. It's not that significant. Doesn't matter. How have authorities reacted also doesn't matter. Let's get to the meat of the topic. So, why? Yes, because PM is shit. Also, please, Kumar, like the stream, subscribe, and share. So why can China do all of this and we have no say in the matter? It's very easy because the India soft power is declining extremely. Thanks, man. Array, see, the thing is, don't take it as like me saying you haven't. Just I have to say it. On that note, like, share, and subscribe, guys. If you haven't, do it now. If you have done it, do it twice. Have another, you do it from your second account too. I know all of you motherfuckers have a second account. So, so there are two aspects to any power, right? One is soft power and one is hard power. The hard power, quite literally, is your military, and your soft power is your relations. And who among us does not know that the military of India is far weaker than the Chinese military, even with our aid from America, which is going down. Like, this is from the website globalfirepower.com. This is for a side-to-side comparison of India and China in the year of 2025. So, brief comparison, manpower is the only thing we are high against. And the geography. That we have better geographic hold, but everything else with logistics, finance, natural resources, naval power, land power, and air power, China is higher. And we are not even higher in manpower that much. It still rounds down to 1.4 billion. In billion? Oh, no, yeah, billion. Available manpower is a little bit higher here. Actually, no. Like, is this wrong? Seems wrong. This 40. Yeah, now it's right. Yeah, so we are not even in manpower. Reaching million age annually, yeah. That is what we are higher in. That is the only, and reserve personnel we are higher in. Reserve personnel are like everyone included, not just okay, hold on. Yeah, you can't see half of it because it's cut out a little bit. But whatever. The point is, India is kind of fucked. See, look at the finances. Look at the finances. What can you see? We are fucked in finances. We do not have a better defense budget. We do not have an external, like external debt is just whatever. I mean, but I think that's a positive. Foreign reserves, we have nothing. Purchasing power, we have nothing. Air power, we are fucked. Even transport, we are fucked. How are we ever supposed to show that we are we have better hard power than China? We don't have newer technology. We have towed artillery. Towed artillery is a really old thing that is literally not in place anymore. Like, no one uses it. People use drones. Artillery used for anymore. We have zero helo carriers, whatever. Submarines, we have less. Destroyers, we have less. Frigates, we have less. All in all, we are fucked. We are fucked in the B. Then the only saving grace that we had was especially under Manmohan Singh, is that people liked us. We were people who were liked. China was not liked. And this has changed drastically. When remember like the final words that Manmohan Singh to Obama, the people of India are not bad. Do not lose hope in India just because the right-wing party is coming into power. He had warned America, but like, while I'm not going to accuse Obama to be a sane person, I am going to say that Trump is a worse person. But again, American foreign policy has not changed. Okay, so on November 10th, Vijay Sahasrabuddhe, the president of the Indian Council for Cultural Relations and the BJP MP in the Rajya Sabha, wrote a 900-word opinion piece. That's not a very long opinion piece, to be honest with you. In the New Indian Express title, India has started to assert its soft power. This piece is a rebuttal to Mr. Sahasrabuddhe's argument. So this is an old thing from 2021. The problem started a very long time ago. People are just realizing it now. The India, I submit, has always enjoyed a degree of soft power. This is from Mr. Sahasrabudhe, and has in the past benefited from it. Far from going, I shall present evidence to argue that India's soft power has been in decline since 2014. Mr. Sahasrabudhe's case rests at least insofar as this essence forms a basis upon which to judge the matter upon three positions. This is so fucking complicated. First, he suggests that the widespread tradition of world leaders to greet Hindus on Diwali is a recent recognition of its core message of Diwali as a celebration of light over darkness, of right and good over wrong and evil. He presents this as an evidence of India's soft power. This has been from the start. I'm sure they will talk about it, but Diwali has nothing to do with Indian soft power. India, like people have been wishing India from the start. It started with Manmohan Singh. Second, the alleged reticence of Indian intellectuals in the past, i.e. before 2014, to celebrate India's ancient culture glories and instead present the problems of the present. And third, the readiness of the self-certified success of the present regime under the Prime Minister of Narendra Modi to promote India's ancient culture and philosophical values of the teachings of our scriptures as a beacon of hope and enlightenment to the rest of the world. All three premises are at best flawed, overstated, and worse, false and self-serving, which is true. They go into more detail further. The Diwali message is stupid. That is me. The Diwali message is truly universal and widely acknowledged and accepted around the world, not because of India's soft power, but because of the message itself resonates with the core message of other religions. Any perception of world leaders have recently started to issue India Diwali greeting as a result of the ubiquity of WhatsApp and Facebook. Diwali celebrations have been held at 10 Downing Street since 2009 when Gordon Brown was president, and in the White House since 2003 with Bush. Sahasrabudhe writes that the global influence of the Indian festivals like Diwali, Holi, Ganesh Chaturthi and Puja are now fast spreading across the globe, which is not true. Indians are spreading, and that is why it is spreading, not because of India's soft power. India's soft power would be supporting us during times of crisis, I would say, which we have seen recently with what happened after OP Sindoor, where India was shunned by every single country. Pakistan, on the other hand, who was the other party, was called by Trump to the White House to talk about anti-terrorism. And in this scenario, the anti-terrorism was not pro-Pakistan, was not pro-India, it was pro-Pakistan, which means to talk about India. People forget that. But as we careful to distinguish the underlying reasons, if Macy's is in New York and Oxford Street is in London, are lit up for Diwali, it would altogether be naive to conclude that the real motivation does not arise from the considerations of the extra sales and enhanced profits. So Macy's Day Parade is something that is a big thing that happens every single year. Their Diwali, it's basically capitalism trying to sell you shit. Guys, hold on for a second. Sarin wants to. I am back. Mr. Sahasrabudhe boasts of scores and examples on how only so-called progressive were chosen for many established international laurels, but can only quote a track for Kumaraswamy for more than a century ago. He means so-called progressives like Amrita Sen and Kailash Satyarthi. I'm trying to say these things correctly, man. They are hard. Mr. Sahasrabudhe also makes much of Modi's preference to speak Hindi when he addresses the world audience. That is quite literally because Modi cannot speak any other language. He can barely speak Hindi. He cannot speak. He can only speak Gujarati. His Hindi, even his Hindi is very Gujaratified. Like, do we really think that Modi can speak more than Gujarati? Modi speaks well and far more eloquently in Hindi than any other language, so makes a wise choice to stick to Hindi other than Gujarati. Like, imagine how bad his Hindi is, and that is the best language he has other than Gujarati. But to use Modi's choice of Hindi as a castigal, a facility to communicate well in English as a colonial hangover, is as shallow an argument as it is a silly schoolboy debating point. When the external minister Jaishankar uses English in his dealings with his counterparts in G20, is he being stranger in his own land? No, fuck no. Yeah, Modi gifted shit, whatever. Like, it's just whatever, man. Like, I don't even want to go through this anymore. You know why? Because honestly speaking, India is so fucked that you can just look outside. We are not trading with anyone. Everyone fucking hates us today. No one is supporting India at any point of time. Like, tell me a moment where a country has come up and said that we need to support India after Sindoor. One country, except for the like African ones who want a trade deal. Any big country, America, no, we are fucked over with tariffs. China already hates us. Japan doesn't deal with us anymore. Russia also is hating us because we are not supporting Russia. Tell me one big power that has come up and be like, no, India is doing right. Because it hasn't. Because, okay, there is, Israel and Afghanistan, like the two beacons of goodness in this world. Jesus Christ. Like, yeah, shitty people stick together, I guess. And yet, like, even if America is getting puppeted around with Israel, our sucking up to Israel has not helped with the tariffs, not one bit. So in that scenario, who, like, no one is supporting, like, forget, everyone is more or less anti. We did basically invaded invaded Canada to kill a Canadian citizen because two beacons of shit, true. We invaded Canada and pissed them off, and now we want good trade relations with them. What kind of a country does that and expects good relations? We are dependent on these countries. Remember, even with dealing with China, our soft power was that we were good with America. We had positioned us since a long time ago as a counter to China for Western interests. We were not our own country for a very long time when dealing with China. And now the people who were supporting us, who were supporting our, defense or our whatever, are pulling away. So obviously China is going to be a lot more brave against us. Yeah, Canada rejected 74% of visa. That is, because of Modi's adventurism. That is exactly what happens. Like, when your soft power is going down, that people are not being accepted in these countries. Fourth fail PM showing his art of ducking. Yeah. True. So what is, like, Indian external policy is so fucked at this point. And now, like, I would not be surprised if China makes a play for Arunachal Pradesh coming up, because it can, because no one is going to support us. Like, the only outcome of OP Sindoor that has happened is, and I'm not joking you, because China was supporting Pakistan in the scenario. These were Chinese planes. China was helping them track Indian planes. It showed that India has a very strategic weakness in its like hard power, and soft power wise, they already know India is going down. Hell, even America is going down in its soft power, where America is far more involved in maintaining its hard power as of now. But that is not going to help India in any sort of a way. Our only way out from here is increasing a soft power more and more, is having more trade deals, discussing it with other people, other countries, and building a stronger system within India that can be like, hey, we can do this, we are able to do this. But to do it, we need to give up on the anti-Muslim divisionary rhetoric that we have developed in India. We need to get rid of caste discrimination. We need to get rid of religious discrimination and make it a safer place. But as long as we can't do that, our soft power is going to remain weak, because the only way out of this is having Trade deals is having other countries dependent on our safety and on our prosperity, that we cannot be ignored. But because of Modi and all of his cronies, we are in the position where we cannot even say something against like Pakistan at this point. What happened after Pahalgam? We did Operation Sindoor and fucked everything else. And now after the Red Fort terror, after Red Fort blastings, we can't even say it was Pakistan, even if we know that the connection was Jaish-e-Mohammed. And Jaish-e-Mohammed is something that is supported by Pakistan. Where are your Lal Akhe now, Modi? Like, seriously. This is the biggest worry. Internally, we are divided. Externally, we have two-front war threat and a joker. Yes, exactly. Like, we cannot be divided at this point internally if we want to have a secure India. Will right-wing who abuse online fight? No, they obviously not. They will never be fighting at any point of time. They are sitting up behind their phones. Like, that's why they don't even have their own pictures over there. Like, fuck, like the Hindutva night guy sitting in Nepal and tweeting. उसका क्या घंटा जाता है भोसड़ी का? I'm gonna cut this out. I should not be. Anyway, the point is, I'm just at this point I'm just ranting. So, what is soft power? I was gonna talk about that, but I think we have pretty much covered that in my rant. That's good. That's decent, I guess. See, India needs to be better. India needs to be so much more better. But we are not going to be able to be better if we keep fighting amongst ourselves. India needs a stronger leader. India needs a leader that unites, not divides. And that is one of the major issues with India right now, and why we are nowhere like internationally. Anyway, Kumar also wanted me to cover the Dhruv Rathi Bihar shit. Not like Kumar, but like Piyush. Sorry, not you, Kumar. Piyush. I think he's gone. Plus, all of that is kind of like afterthought at this point, because I'm just so much like, there's nothing more to say on this more than just like, at the end of the day, what is end up going to happening is we are going to have to fork over Arunachal Pradesh if shit goes on as it is going on right now. We are going to have to. There's no choice here. Because they are never going to stop coming after us, Arunachal Pradesh. And if we keep losing more and more of our military, if we keep losing our soft power and our claim over our own land, what do you think is going to happen? We're going to have to fork over Arunachal Pradesh and Kashmir. Because if the world is supporting Pakistan and China, if China is the next superpower, and if this becomes a bipolar world, and India is weak by manpower, like by hard power and by soft power, who's going to come to our defense? Who's going to help us? Because we can't clearly help ourselves. Anyway, that is the message for today, I guess. Hopefully I will be able to edit this live out and post it as a video. Like the post out is really good content, honestly. The point is, please share the stream. This is going to be as a video after. Will write to me. Oh yeah, okay, I read that. So I'll see you, I think, Tuesday or maybe Wednesday or Thursday. Thursday, I think, because I have work in the middle. So I'll see you Thursday. If you are new here and if you haven't joined the Discord, please join the Discord. I'll see you. Shabba khair. Good night. Bye bye. Please subscribe and